What is going on, everyone, and welcome to WreckTalk. Let's preview this game. So, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech in Blacksburg. The line, I think, has moved somewhat to 10.5 for Virginia Tech. The Tecmo Bowl, the battle between tech schools. And this has been an interesting matchup for Tech in the past. Virginia Tech has not won in Blacksburg against Georgia Tech since 2012. I don't know what it is on the other side, but it's basically been the case where the away team has had the advantage. Kind of like Georgia Tech, Miami. Seems like the away team wins more than the home team. So something to look out for there. Georgia Tech, for whatever reason, has played well in Blacksburg. And Georgia Tech is coming off of, I'm going to go ahead and call it a humiliating game. Not a humiliating loss. Notre Dame, a very good team, very good defense, but Georgia Tech's special teams have been absolutely abysmal. We can't even do the automatic things right. Like, look, kickers miss kicks. We all understand that. But when you can't even get a kick off, when you can't even get the hold down, when you take substitution penalties multiple weeks in a row after timeouts that turn 4th and 3s into 4th and 6 to punt, I mean, that's you can't do that. I mean, you just cannot do that. If the special teams is the same as they were against Notre Dame last week, Georgia Tech will get run off the field in this game. That kills the confidence of your offense usually. Just think of Pyron had a very good first half against Notre Dame. A guy that's won in Blacksburg before as a true freshman. Was he a true freshman or redshirt freshman? I don't remember. Won in Blacksburg and Key's interim year, but Pyron marches right down the field against Notre Dame right to end that half to bring it, to a 1-score game or 4-point game or whatever it was going to be. And then we screw a kick up. Can't even get the hold right. We've also had a punt returned by Marion Hampton when we played UNC. Probably special teams should have cost us that game. Had a punt blocked against Louisville. So it's just gotten and taken back to the house for a touchdown. So we're even giving up points on special teams. Again, Key addressed that in the press conference. Even though Kelly Quinlan and Brent Key are best friends, he was terrified to ask him about the special teams for some reason. Interesting. Quinlan might get his own little picture back here. But anyways, video's not about him. Key basically said, yeah, no, it's awful, unacceptable at Tech. Here's my thing. I talked about this in a members only video right before I came on to record this. I could really care less what's said in the press conference. It's gotta be corrected for this game. We're sitting on 5 wins, but based on injuries, special teams, Tech making a bowl is still, I feel like Kramer, right? I don't know. Winning this game would really take a load off your shoulders as far as winning a bowl game, though. So let's talk about Virginia Tech. I went on a Virginia Tech podcast last night. It'll be 2 nights ago at the time this video's uploaded. Virginia Tech, a very up and down team. Virginia Tech, 10th total offense, 10th total defense. But when you break it down to rush offense, rush defense, and pass defense, number 1 rush offense in the ACC. I know I'm not pronouncing his name right, but Brayshall Tootin, I'm just going to call him Tootin for the duration of this video, set the school record for rushing yards, like 270 rushing yards or something, against Boston College. If Georgia Tech cannot stop Tootin in this game, it's over, which is why the injury for Eford, I don't know whether he's playing in this game or not. He didn't play against Notre Dame. Key said he was in a black shirt in the press conference. Is killer. And a lot of people gave me grief and hell when I said, hey, Eford not playing in this game is far more important than King not playing in that game. And it is because of this running back, and it is because they have the number 1 rush offense in the ACC. On the other end of it, they have the 16th ranked pass offense in the country. Drones, their quarterback, Kyron Drones, 9 touchdowns on 5 interceptions, been fairly turnover prone. 2 of those might have even come against Boston College. They've not been at all confident throwing the ball, in my opinion, and they're probably the ACC team I've watched the most of, aside from maybe Syracuse. I've streamed the Boston College game, which was crazy. Virginia Tech gets up 28-0, lets Boston College come back 28-21, make it a 1-score game. Maybe a game that really well encapsulates Virginia Tech as being really up and down. On the defensive side, this is what makes this game interesting. 16th ranked rush defense in the ACC, 2nd ranked pass defense, though. So you would think Georgia Tech should be able to run the ball against Virginia Tech. And really, I don't know if King's starting in this game or not. I'm just going to assume, for argument's sake, because he was played last game and because King is day-to-day, I'm just going to go with Pyron starting in this game. If we're able to run the ball some and take a load off of Pyron where it's not all on his shoulders to make a throw into tight coverage, especially against another good pass defense, that could really bode well for Georgia Tech. Now, Virginia Tech has 2 players that are the top of the conference statistically. Tootin, no one has more rushing yards than that cat in the ACC. Number 1 in the ACC. And this Rylan Powell, defensive lineman for Virginia Tech, 4th in tackles for loss at 10. No one in the conference has more sacks with 10. So another, critical matchup of pretty good, really good pass how do I say this? We haven't given up many sacks. It's kind of late, and I'm irritated with the team, with the special teams. But Georgia Tech, I think, has only given up 2 or 3 sacks on the year, maybe 3. And then you got a kid that's really good at getting after the quarterback. Now, part of that has been the fleet-footedness of King. Pyron's definitely a kid that far more so wants to stay in the pocket and throw the ball downfield more than King does. And we've called the offense, accordingly to that. So Georgia Tech, is not as up and down statistically, but is definitely a team that just has lacked consistency. Now, this is a noon kickoff on the ACC network. Again, the line's 10.5 in Virginia Tech's favor, 51.5 over under. I think talent-wise, this is a far more even matchup, which, again, bodes well for Georgia Tech. I think top to bottom, well, I'll put it this way. Virginia Tech has maybe better playmakers at the moment, or their playmakers are statting better, right? They have better stats. So I don't, assuming Eford is out, I'm just going to go with what happened last game and assume that that's the case. Georgia Tech's going to need a guy to step up at linebacker as a definitive run stopper. That was the number 2 thing that killed us last game, not being able to wrap up, not being able to tackle well, especially in open field. Tech's going to need a guy to step up. Is Tatum that guy? Is EJ Lightsley, who's been coming off injury, Jackson Hamilton, or the freshman? Again, it's late. His name's eluding me. He wears number 15. It'll come to me in a minute. But a kid that's raw, that just is young and doesn't have a ton of experience. Someone's going to have to step up and be in that run-stopping threat for Tech. Can Biggers step up again? Can we get hands on this guy on the offensive line? This is a guy, or the defensive line. This is a guy in Tootin for Virginia Tech that you're probably not going to hold to under 100 yards, right? He's like a Marion Hampton, where he's going to get his yardage in, but you have to limit the explosive plays. Georgia Tech would very much like to stack the box and limit what he can do and force drones to throw. It's going to be the exact same game plan for Virginia Tech. Now, as far as game predictions, just with how Tech's played in the last couple of weeks, I can't predict us to go on the road and beat a Virginia Tech team that has talent, that has playmakers, without seeing it. Now, so I wouldn't predict Tech to win this game. I'm not predicting Tech to win this game. I also think 10.5 points is a lot of points to cover for a Virginia Tech team that is as up and down themselves with things with it, that has, the lack of pass defense that they have and the lack of throwing game. We're kind of similar in that we kind of have, it's going to sound rough, but half a defense and kind of half an offense, or half the playbook that's unavailable to you at times. So I don't think Tech wins this game, but I also don't think that Virginia Tech covers. If I had to give a score prediction, I would probably take the under of 51.5, unless Tootin just goes off. Maybe a, let's see, 28-21 game, something like that, or even, 23-17. I could see a score like that as well. So if, I talked about it on the Virginia Tech show, if I could pick one stat that kind of tells me everything I need to know, I'd probably need two. It has to do with Virginia Tech's passing game. If Virginia Tech is averaging like 6 yards a throw, 70% or better, passing efficiency, I think Virginia Tech wins this game pretty easily. And that is because it's going to open up the run game for them, and it's going to make it where we just can't sit in the box on the run. If Virginia Tech makes us respect the throwing game, it's going to be a long day for Georgia Tech. So let me know what you guys think if you're a Virginia Tech fan. By the way, give the video with Gus Morris some love. 31-year veteran SEC official. We break down, Virginia Tech fans, the Virginia Tech Miami call from an expert guy who's called games before. He's been a referee before for a long time, and the UGA Texas game. Go give that video some love if you haven't. See you guys next time.